Welcome to the PUP Fantasy Podcast, Physically Unable to Perform Fantasy Podcast. It is week 13 in the 2017-18 season. I am Aaron Pankey, and with me as always...
It's John Vitamus, and we are feeling really good about all of the picks that we gave you last week. We did so good!
Yes,
Oh
we're
my
getting
God.
much better. Yes, you had a huge hit with Julio Jones. Depending on your scoring, may have gotten you, into the 40, 50s?
In the league that I was in, he got 50 point. Yeah, I think he got like 53.3. It was ridiculous.
We also hit on Kamara, Phillip Rivers, the Steelers, Robbie Anderson, and Crowder. On the flip side, the misses were Booker, Beasley, and Stephon Diggs.
I think those were all my misses too. So I hope you selectively listened to me, because I also got a text from one Aaron Pankey that said, I don't know why I listened to you when you told me to put Greg Olsen in your lineup. And I specifically told him, we specifically tell people not to pick the players that we pick. So you're on your own, buddy. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I was a DFS, and I threw him in there, and I was like, didn't work out.
Now he's visiting more doctors this weekend.
Yes. Yeah. So back to Ed Dixon. Great. All right. So Thursday night game, we've got Washington Redskins at the Cowboys. Washington's favored by about 1.5 points. I feel like the Redskins are getting hot. I feel like the Cowboys are headed south, and I'm going to go with Samaje Perine. Dallas has been giving up lots of yards because their offense is terrible, so I'm going with him.
Give me all of Kirk Cousins in this game. This is the quarterback of the week. Like, I don't know who he's going to throw it to, because quite honestly, they have a hodgepodge things, whether Jordan Reed is healthy, whether Jamison Crowder is healthy, whatever. But Dallas has given up 27 points per game in the last three games. Phillip Rivers just 1 week ago threw for 434 yards. So give me all of Kirk Cousins, and I'll take it all the way to the bank.
Love that pick.
Moving on to the Sunday early games. The first game on the slate is Detroit Lions at Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore is 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is 41 points. I will take Buck Allen in this game. Detroit has allowed over 180 rushing yards in their last three games. At least 180 yards in their last three games. And Buck Allen is the only Baltimore back that is going to both catch a ball and rush with it. So I will take Buck Allen.
And just to speak to that point, Alex Collins is still questionable for status right now. And if you watch the game, it doesn't look like Woodhead is really getting her done quite for the team yet. And I'm going to go with Stafford in this game. Baltimore doesn't allow quarterbacks to get going usually, but they also haven't played some top-tier quarterbacks recently. The last time they did, they lost to Big Ben. And so Stafford, in my mind, is a top-tier quarterback. And so I think he's going to be the guy to get in the Detroit-Baltimore game. Moving on to the 49ers and the Bears game. I'm very excited about this game. The Bears are favored by 3, but Garoppolo is going to be playing. He's the quarterback I'm taking this week. In this game, the player I'm taking, he was exciting last week, and it's just good to see how well he did in New England, and now he's going to go to San Francisco and play under Shanahan, and should be the start of some good things. So I'm excited about taking Garoppolo.
On the flip side, my running back of the week is going to be Tariq Cohen. Look, you're playing the 1-10 49ers. Like, this is the chance you have to be creative with your playbook. Bring some things out that you don't have to worry about whether you're going to be down by 4 touchdowns or not. And I fully expect the Bears to win this game. Even with Garoppolo, I don't think they're going to be all that better than they were with CJ Beathard or Brian Hoyer. So I do expect Cohen to get some garbage time work as well. So this is, I don't know if you're going to get a better value than Tariq Cohen this week in daily fantasy. I really don't. Moving on to the Minnesota Vikings and Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 3 points. The over-under is 47.5. My wide receiver in this game is going to be Mohamed Sanu. That's my pick for this game. He is the wide receiver outside of Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes is a really good corner for Minnesota. And while I don't expect him to completely tie up Julio Jones, I expect it to be way easier sledding throwing to Mohamed Sanu than I do to Julio Jones. So give me Mohamed Sanu because I think this is going to be a fairly high-scoring game.
I also agree, and I'm going to go with Matt Ryan in this one. I know he's going against a very good defense, but the Falcons' defense is getting better. The Falcons are getting ready for that run to the Super Bowl. Their window hasn't closed. It's just taken them a little bit longer to get things rolling with their new offensive coordinator, but they're still a very good team, and I think Ryan is going to have a good week against the Vikings. Next up is a huge matchup for the New England Patriots. They get to go to Buffalo. They're a 9.5-point favorite at this point. The Saints were able to exploit the run game against the Bills, and so I think the Patriots will do the same. I don't think it's going to be Burkhead in this one. White is the pass catcher, so I think it's going to be Dion Lewis. You saw 2 weeks ago that Lewis was the guy. Then they went last week to Burkhead. And Burkhead, sure, I think had 2 touchdowns, but didn't run real well. And I think they're going to go back to Lewis. They're trying to figure out which guy to use, and I think they're going to give the ball to Lewis this week.
So if you had to pick one of those 3, it would be Lewis, right?
Yes.
Okay. My pick for this game is going to be Zay Jones. And he is actually my wide receiver of the week this week. The Patriots do their best to take away an opposing offense's best weapon, which it's LaShawn McCoy. Like, there's no doubting about that. So they will do their best to take away the running game. They will do their best to take away LaShawn McCoy. Zay Jones has already had at least 7 targets in each of the last 3 games. So he's going to get that many, if not more, because of the Patriots' focused defense. So give me Zay Jones. I'll cover this at the end of the podcast, but I want to say $3,900. But that's my wide receiver of the week. Yep.
I mean, this should be a Patriot blowout, though, right? 30, 35-14, 30.
All the more reason that Zay Jones is going to get more action because they're going to be throwing the ball to catch up. Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the next game. The Denver Broncos are at the Miami Dolphins. Denver is on the road as a favorite by 1 point. The over-under is 38 points. Give me the Broncos defense in this game. I know that Aqib Talib is out. I get it. And that's fine. But Miami doesn't really have a good offense anyway. And anything they're going to get on the ground, Denver has been really good at shutting down running backs. Give me Denver's defense for at least 1 return touchdown against Jay Cutler.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game. The Dolphins' defense is pretty decent itself, and the Broncos' offense is struggling. My pick is going to be Stills, just that other receiver outside of Landry. Landry's probably going to be covered by Chris Harris, so I'm going to just sort of bank on the other Dolphins receiver of Kenny Stills with Talib out. So that's what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, I don't really like any of the players other than the Broncos defense that you already picked.
Yeah, I don't like anybody else in that matchup other than the Broncos defense. Yeah, that's good. Yep.
Next game, we have the Houston Texans go into the Tennessee Titans. Titans are a the Texans are not. At this point, Tennessee is favored by 6.5. And because of that, I think Texans are probably just their best chance to just keep bombing it up to Hopkins and see what happens. And at least get him some play. So I'm taking Hopkins.
I'll take Delaney Walker in this matchup. Rashard Matthews is hit or miss with the injury that he's dealing with right now. And even when he's healthy, Corey Davis has really been hit or miss, whether he's part of the offense or not. Delaney Walker is the only consistent target in the passing game for Marcus Mariota. And I don't think that the Texans are going to be able to slow the Titans passing game down. So I will take Delaney Walker as the sure thing in that passing game.
Another game I don't want to watch.
No, I wouldn't either.
It's terrible.
Nope. Speaking of games I don't want to watch because I think it's going to be a blowout, the Indianapolis Colts unfortunately have to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are favored by 10 points in this game, and the over-under is only 41. I came really close to making Blake Bortles the quarterback of the week, but I didn't because he's Blake Bortles. But I think this is a really good matchup for Blake Bortles. I think he can exploit things in the first half. Look, I don't think that Jacksonville is capable of blowing anybody out because they have Blake Bortles as their quarterback. But that being said, I think that they are capable of hitting a couple play action passes for deep touchdowns in this game. So close to being quarterback of the week, but no.
So I don't like anybody in this game. So I'm going to take Josh Lambo, the kicker for the Jaguars. If they're 10-point favorite, he should kick a field goal and an extra point. So he'll get you at least 4 points. So moving on, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Green Bay Packers. Tampa Bay is a 1.5-point favorite. Now, it sounds like Winston is going to play in this game. So maybe changes some things for everybody. But I'm going to go with Brett Hundley in this. Brett Hundley is my quarterback of the week. He has been playing some pretty good passing defenses, and his improvement last week against the Steelers, now he's going to be playing a much poorer pass defense. I'm looking for him to be the quarterback of the week for me against the Buccaneers.
I thought we weren't going to recommend Brett Hundley anymore. Like I distinctly remember, like 3 weeks ago, we both said, I am done recommending Brett Hundley.
Yeah, but the Steelers have a decent pass defense, and he did pretty well against them.
But he did pretty good against the Bears, too, and then they played the Ravens. But anyway, I digress. My pick in this game is going to be Deshaun Jackson. Even in their best efforts, the Packers are not a good pass defense. They will be putting most of their focus on Mike Evans, though. And so I just see Deshaun Jackson getting 1 or 2 home run shots over the top. And I see at least one of those working out because the Packers defensively okay. Moving on. Kansas City Chiefs are at the New York Jets. The Kansas City Chiefs are 3-point favorites in this game. The over-under is 44. I'm going to go contrarian a little bit here, and I don't know how contrarian it's going to be, but I will take the Jets defense. They're super cheap on DraftKings, by the way. Apparently, over the last 5 weeks, the Chiefs love turning the ball over, and they can't move the football. So they went from being 5-0 to being 6-5. And I think the Jets have a good enough defense to exploit everything that the Chiefs do. And side note, that is kind of a reverse jinx because I do have Kareem Hunt, and I'm hoping he scores like 7 touchdowns this week. But I will take the Jets defense.
I think the Chiefs are done. They're not headed for the playoffs anymore.
I know, that's so weird though, right? Like, how do you start 5-0 and then just totally tank?
Well, they had a lot more trick plays, and they're not running those as much because teams are catching up. Well, in the first 4 weeks of the season are basically more preseason games. In my mind, the first, at least through week 3, maybe week 4, are all preseason games still because the starters don't play that much. So they're just getting into action. So I'm taking McCown. I like to ride this train a lot, get on this horse. I'm going to get on this again for the Jets with the Chiefs not being able to move the ball. I think we're both inside that the Jets are going to do well in this game. Now we get to the Sunday late afternoon, and it's Carolina Panthers at the Saints. This is a very important matchup for the NFC South playoffs and or the division. New Orleans Saints are a 4.5-point favorite. I'm going with Ted Ginn Jr. against his former team. So I like him. It doesn't seem like Breeze is throwing a lot of deep passes, and they'll hit him around for a crossing pattern, and he'll go run it all the way. So I'm looking for Ginn to get a touchdown.
I'm going to take Jonathan Stewart in this game. He's half the point. He's half the cost of Christian McCaffrey. But Cam Newton's thumb is still going to be an issue. It clearly hurt him in last week's game. So if they have to run the ball against the Saints, that's what they need to do to be successful.
So now we're going to move on to the Cleveland Browns against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers, which are now that started 1-5, I think, and are now or 0-4, opposite of whatever the Chiefs were. They are now a 14.5-point favorite against the Browns. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Chargers defense in this one. The Browns are a mess. Their only option is wing the ball around, maybe. They try running it, but they give up on that too early. So I'm going to go with the Chargers defense in this one.
I'm going to take Isaiah Crowell in this game because the Browns have been competitive, and their goal should be to keep the ball away from Phillip Rivers in this game. So I will take Isaiah Crowell in this game.
And then we have the Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. The Rams are a 7-point favorite, and I'm making Todd Gurley my running back of the week. His last game against the Cardinals, yet it was at home, I know that, but that's sort of a neutral field for them. He had 100 yards and a touchdown. So I would expect now that the Cardinals are a little bit more beat up on defense, that he should replicate that with another 100-yard, 1-touchdown performance.
I'll take Tyler Higbee in this game. Like, I don't know, with Robert Woods out, I don't know who Patrick Peterson covers. I'm assuming it's going to be Sammy Watkins, but I can't guarantee that it won't be Cooper Kupp. So give me Tyler Higbee. It's a punt play as a tight end on DraftKings. I think he's only going to cost you $2,500. So, but if he gets 3 catches for 45 yards, maybe a luck touchdown, good. Yeah, let's do it. Next on the slate is the New York. Oh my God, this is a mess. New York Giants at the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders are now 10.5-point favorites in this game. The over/under is 41.5. Don't get too cute here. I told you this last week with Julio Jones. Let's not get cute. Jared Cook is the guy. Take Jared Cook. Jared Cook, the Giants suck versus tight ends. Take Jared Cook. Don't mess this up. Michael Crabtree is already suspended for this game. Now, there is an outside chance if Amari Cooper doesn't play that you want to have Cordero Patterson on your roster. But Jared Cook is the guy you want on this offense.
See, I disagree. I think not that Giants give up touchdowns to tight ends, and he's probably their best pass receiver if Cooper is out. But I think because they are not starting Eli, who was asked to start, but they would have pulled him for either Geno or Webb. I think that the Raiders are going to get up fast, and then they're going to run the ball, and it's going to be Marshawn Lynch in this game. Was a big one.
Do you think? Okay. Question for you, because I have Evan Ingram on my team. Does that affect your play for Evan Ingram, knowing that Geno Smith is going to get the start?
Well, it's been 2 weeks now that he's underperformed what his normal status is, and I don't know if that's just teams are now just playing him differently, knowing that he's the only option. He still gets quite a few targets, but I have a hard time starting him. I have him in some leagues, and it's just I have to go with the other guy, which is usually Jack Doyle. We can't go wrong with Jack Doyle.
Well, Doyle rules. I don't have another guy, so I'm going to ride with Ingram because I don't think that Geno knows how to throw to anybody else other than the tight end. But I also have Sterling Shepard, and I will not be playing Sterling Shepard because I don't think that he is. Even if he is healthy enough to play, I don't think he is a legitimate option in a Geno Smith passing attack.
Next up, we have the Sunday night game, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Seattle Seahawks. Great matchup in the NFC. The Eagles have 1 loss. The Seahawks, I think, have 4. Philadelphia is favored by 6.5 in Seattle, which is quite a big number, but they are the big boy on the block. And so with the Seattle's Legion of Boom that went kaboom, I'm going to go with Wentz in this game. He's had a great quarterback rating, and why not continue that against the Seattle Seahawks?
I agree, and that was a great way to put it. The Seahawks Legion of Boom went kaboom. Jesus, you should work on that. You should quote that somewhere. You should trademark stamp that somewhere. I'm going to go with Nelson Aguilar in this game. And the only reason I say that is because of the 32 teams in the NFL, there are only 2 teams that go as by committee as these 2 teams, both backfield and wide receivers. But I think that Nelson Aguilar is the dart throw of this game because I think he has the most upside to hit a home run over the top. So if there's anybody that's going to get a 70-yard touchdown, it's going to be Nelson Aguilar.
That's true. I could see that.
Moving on to Monday night, the Pittsburgh Steelers are at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Pittsburgh Steelers are favored by 5.5 points. The over-under is 43.5. My pick in this game is going to be Jesse James. Cincinnati is really good against wide receivers, and I realize that one of the wide receivers that Pittsburgh has is Antonio Brown. But they do a good job of shutting out wide receivers. But if you get into the red zone, Jesse James is a very viable red zone target for Ben Roethlisberger, who I think actually has a good game. So I will take Jesse James in this game.
Well, in the last Packer game, he targeted him quite a bit, Jesse James. I like AJ Green in this. He's my wide receiver of the week. He needs to have a good showing, and he usually plays well in this rivalry game. So I like him. So just to recap, I had Hundley, Gurley, and AJ Green as my players of the week, and you had?
I had Kirk Cousins, Tariq Cohen, and Zay Jones as my headliners of the week.
All right, so we'll see how that goes. So let's get into who would you rather. Last week, I went 1-2, and you went 2-2.
Well, we both got credit for the pie thing because you really can't go wrong between pumpkin pie and apple pie. That's a silly question. I gave us both credit for it.
Excellent. But I'm
But
still losing. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but the one that you did lose the actual question because New England's top three put up about 63-ish points, I think it was. The top two from Pittsburgh put up like 75 points. So that's how you lost that.
It was tough because I told you Brady was my quarterback of the week last week, and he did have the touchdowns. He didn't have the yards,
he did.
But he didn't. He ended up like quarterback 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Like everybody else decided they wanted to just make sure they rubbed it in for you. Yeah, I get it.
So first game is Case Keenum at Atlanta or Ben Roethlisberger at Cincinnati.
This isn't even a question. This is Roethlisberger. Right?
Yes, all day Roethlisberger.
Yep.
Keenum. I couldn't take him.
I don't know that
I don't know what matchup I could take him.
Like if I didn't, in my regular season lineup, I actually have Roethlisberger, and I don't know that I would. I can't say that I would drop him for Keenum though.
No,
like I don't. You probably get a little bit of savings in daily fantasy with Keenum, but I don't know that it's enough to make it worth your while. So I would take Big Ben.
So the next question was Samaje Perine at the Dallas or Marshawn Lynch at New York Giants. This is really tough for me. I mean, I like both of these guys. They're going to be in my lineup for daily fantasy. I think Perine is just going to inch a little bit more, have a little bit more points than Lynch this week.
This isn't even close for me because I'm not even sure. Like on a week-to-week basis, I don't know how much Marshawn Lynch is going to carry the football. But I will take Samaje Perine because I know he's touching the football. There's nobody behind him. You said it earlier. There's nobody behind him. So give me Samaje Perine.
And the last matchup is Jarvis Landry at Denver or Funchess at New Orleans. I went with Funchess because I haven't seen any reports that the New Orleans corners are healthy. So if they got to go with those second string guys, I'm going with Funchess.
I'm going to take Jarvis Landry because I know there is no Aqib Talib. And even if there was, Landry lines up in a slot. And that's not where Talib lines up. So I think Landry has a big game in this against Denver because I don't think they know how to cover him.
So why don't you go through your fantasy headliners here?
All right. My quarterback of the week is Kirk Cousins. I get it. He's playing on Thursday. Not a whole lot of people like that. It happens. But he's only going to cost you $6,600. Tariq Cohen is my running back of the week. He's going to cost $3,700. And Zay Jones is my wide receiver of the week at $4,600.
So my daily fantasy, I went a little bit different than my players of the week. I took Hundley, who is my quarterback of the week. He's at $5,100. Marshawn Lynch is only $4,800. So I'd pick Gurley, so I gave you a little value there with Lynch. And then my receiver, because I had picked AJ Green as my wide receiver of the week prior, but I want to give you some value in this one. And so I went with Goodwin for the 49ers. He's only $4,000. So I think if you picked Zay Jones and Goodwin and you picked Perine and Lynch, you might have a pretty good little daily fantasy there. Just my opinion.
Well, and you can overspend on other places too as well. I mean, that's
you could go get the Jacksonville defense, right? Or the Jets defense. Yeah, and then you could overspend. You could get a big time quarterback, get some tight ends. So
For sure. Absolutely.
well, thank you for joining us. And this is week 13, 2017 season. Good luck out there.
Good luck, everybody.